Welcome to the Driver's Line. I'm Greg.
And I'm Jordan.
And today, we've got a conversation for you.
Today's conversation is actually some recent developments coming to us from the land of the rising sun.
That's right. Today, we are here to talk about a merger. It's a merger you've probably heard about between Honda and Nissan.
Yeah, and this kind of came out of the blue, and not a lot of people were expecting it. And I think still a lot of folks in the auto industry are like scratching their heads as to what's going to happen here. But if you haven't heard, Honda, Nissan, and possibly Mitsubishi, they have some time here to decide if they're going to actually form a big old partnership between them. And we're going to kind of discuss today what that might look like, why they're doing this, and we're even going to touch on later what companies we could see maybe having some benefits of merging themselves.
Exactly. So, we're going to hit on some of the history of the deal. We're going to talk about what it could mean for them going forward, and, who could possibly benefit from a sort of a similar situation. So we're going to go ahead and dive into it first. So, this kind of was brought about because you may not know this, but Nissan was kind of not in a great place. They really were going through cash. They were laying off people. I think they laid off maybe like 800 employees recently. We're not really looking to more likely exist beyond 2025, which is really, really not great for such like a historic, wonderful manufacturer. I mean, they've made their product has kind of been a little bit weak as of late. But again, they were one of those, Japanese manufacturers that was always just like a signal of strength. Datsun and Nissan, and made a lot of great product back in the day, but it's kind of, again, been a little bit long in the tooth now.
Yeah, I mean, they're a long storied brand of the Japanese big three, right? And even maybe we were a little too hard on them on our death watch and brought things to fruition. But yeah, the environmental landscape for automakers right now is really wild because we have so many folks entering into the EV marketplace. We have competition from China, so this is starting to play into the game, right? So Honda is a pretty solid brand. They have a great reputation, and they are Japan's second largest automaker, right? So what we're seeing here is Mitsubishi and Nissan struggling to keep up with the market. Honda's up there, but they're also having some struggles in the EV market. We're seeing that. So what they're seeing is, hey, what if Nissan, which has some background in the EV market, as we know, they were the first kind of major player with the Leaf as a kind of common EV for everyday folks. What if we took their kind of expertise there and kind of paired that with Honda's name and reliability and brand image and money?
And money.
Because that's ultimately what this comes down to kind of level out this playing field a little bit and save ourselves off from some of that Chinese competition.
And there's also one other component I think that's going to be an interesting piece of the puzzle to see how it fits in, because one thing that Nissan also does really, really well that Honda doesn't do at all is large trucks and SUVs.
Absolutely right.
Obviously we don't have the Titan anymore, but they really Nissan just spent a massive investment bringing the Armada back up to spec to make it align with a lot of the competition in the marketplace. Honda has nothing like that.
No, yeah, I mean, they have the Ridgeline, which,
it's an odyssey.
It's it's a niche product, really, right? And when you're looking at the North American market, I mean, trucks are big money.
Big money.
And I think Nissan has the bones there, but they just don't have the investment to follow through and keep things fresh, where Honda could really do that and also benefit from having access to those platforms. So there is some synergy there. I know a lot of people are like looking at it's like, what? This is crazy. But, I mean, that's definitely a pretty black and white situation.
Absolutely. Some of the product that Nissan's really had to get long in the tooth has been their small cars.
Yeah.
They've got the Versa, which has been on the show for a long time, Sentra, which has been on the show for a long time, Altima, which is now dead. Maxima, which is now dead.
Yep.
Whereas Honda's been very, very successful with the Civic and the Accord.
Absolutely.
So again, there's a lot of opportunities there for them to help each other in the areas where they're kind of lacking, plus Honda's pocketbook.
Right. And it sounds like with this merger, Honda is going to be retaining all the kind of management positions, right? Which makes sense. I mean, they're the ones that have the money. They're the ones that have the capitalization available. So
at every merger, there's always like an acquirer and an acquiree. Yeah. And let's not make any like let's not make it foggy at all.
Honda's the daddy here.
Honda's the daddy here. They're the ones that are acquiring Nissan as a result of this merger, but for all intents and purposes, they're going to call it a merger.
Yeah, but I do think that there's space for both these automakers in the market, and within that kind of umbrella that they would probably create. I mean, Honda could definitely be the more mainstream type brand, and Nissan could have that little more experimental design and performance attitude, almost like a Pontiac kind of deal. Maybe. Oh, see where that went. But,
Driving excitement, right?
Driving excitement. Yeah, driving excitement down the left lane, 100 miles an hour.
With your bumper falling off your blinker on, but hopefully that won't happen to Honda.
No.
Hopefully Honda won't take Nissan's bad traits.
No.
But
No,
anyways. For me, the biggest unknown of this is what happens with the luxury brands.
Yeah, that's
They
true.
both have their own luxury brand. They've got Acura, they've got Infiniti.
Yeah.
What happens with those?
It's true. I mean, and both of those brands have kind of struggled to find a place in the market. More so Infiniti, I would say. So yeah, that's an interesting position there. Where do those two go?
So the thing that I'm kind of thinking about, Infiniti has been doing very poorly.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been starved for product, so that's not helping them. They finally just got around to redoing the QX56, which we actually got to see New York Auto Show about this time last year.
Looked great.
And what was like mobbed with people.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, journalists, everybody all over the thing, because it was a massive step forward for Nissan.
Yeah.
They invested a ton of money in it, made it a really nice product, but the problem is you don't have a lot else, right, with Infiniti. So they've actually started folding in a lot of those Infiniti dealerships back into the Nissan stores, which is like the first sign of death for one of these luxury brands. And Infiniti sales have been down, whereas Acura, on the other hand, has been increasing. They're actually up like 42% from 22. So they've had a nice market increase with some of their product. Their product has been getting refreshed, and again, it's not perfect.
No, they're definitely investing more than they used to, which is where you're seeing a lot of that increase coming from. It would just be nice to see them have a bigger share of that pie. But this all this time, I mean, they've been on the market forever. They still haven't quite grab that success.
Yeah, and last year, it was about 58,000 sales for Infiniti, 140 plus thousand for Acura. Acura again has, I think, more product at the lower end with the Integra, Integra Type S, and things of that nature, RDX. But still, I mean, with Honda being the daddy, as we said, and their brand Acura being more successful, it really doesn't make sense to have two.
That's true. Yeah,
so
I don't see the place for both.
This is honestly, I think. You're probably we're gonna have a Death Watch episode coming soon, but Infiniti is probably going to be mentioned in that Death Watch episode, because unfortunately, the Infiniti brand is probably not going to be along. It's probably not going to exist beyond this merger.
Yeah, I definitely concur with that for sure. All right. Well, with that said, now we're going to delve into a little bit more of future casting. Yes. Maybe what are some brands that we could see some synergies between in the future?
I know. Right? So these are brands that can sort of like this Honda Nissan deal. They have a little bit of synergy. They can benefit. They're going to be complementary to each other. So I'm interested to hear what you picked.
Awesome. Well, I had kind of fun with this because I was going through so many different combinations, right, to find those synergies and where that would work. And I ended up on a kind of a strange place in a way, because these are both legacy automakers that they have a long storied past, both of them. Some of them darker than others, but we'll figure that out in a second.
Tesla?
Nonetheless, no, not Tesla. But as we've been kind of discussing, there's so much overturning that's happening with this EV. There's so many distractors coming in, like Tesla, who has changed this marketplace, right? And you find these legacy automakers trying to find their place in this new world. And I think there's two brands that have really kind of tried, but there's still some place where they can improve. So one of those is an American automaker, and that is Ford. So Ford, I have to say, was one of the first automakers that came to mind, because they saw the vision of sedans dying off, right? Where they were one of the first ones who were like, listen guys, it's all SUVs.
Let's get rid of Fusion.
They kill everything, right? So they basically have the Bronco, they got the Bronco Sport, they've got the Escape, and they've got the Explorer. These are all SUVs.
They have no cars. Zero cars.
They have pickups, right?
No Focus.
No Focus. But they have the Mustang kind of thrown in there. So because you got to hold on to that. That's
it's a Halo car for them.
Exactly.
Literally the only Halo car they make.
For sure.
Yeah.
So there's not much outside of that. Lincoln, Lincoln does make some really nice product, but they have a really tarnished brand identity, and their stuff is made in China. So there's some folks who kind of see that as a really negative aspect, and their sales just have been flat. No matter what they do, they can't really seem to find a place in the market, right? So they have a pretty strong like mainstream market here in the North American market, but like overseas, it's kind of faltering. The other brand I talked about is going to be talking about is Volkswagen.
Volkswagen.
Now, this is odd because Volkswagen...
The people's car.
Yes. We're not going to go into the past.
What was it, Henry Ford? There's a little bit of synergy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Good point. Ooh, this is getting a little darker than I thought it was going to. All right. But Volkswagen is a weird one because they are so naturally big as they are, right?
Oh, yeah. Volkswagen is...
They're a huge automotive
huge
group.
and pervasive, yeah.
Absolutely. But their market cap is not what their sales should reflect. I mean, there's so many brands, but they don't have the power over the market that they used to. And you see that, like, Audi sales are dropping off because they just have not found, like, a fresh image for them. They just keep on doing the same thing over and over again, right? And they're trying to get, like, the EV market in there, but as we see, EVs are tough to get to, especially the luxury market. It's a really tough market to break into. So where I looked at was really like the mainstream portion because Ford does a great job with trucks, as we know, right? They're the best-selling vehicle in the United States and the North American market. And they do a great job with SUVs. Volkswagen struggles in the North American market outside of maybe the Atlas, right? I mean, they've dropped a lot of their cars. They have the Jetta still hanging around. I'm not even sure how that's possible at this point, but they have the GTI and the Golf R. But they're really kind of not getting it in the North American market where Ford does. Likewise, Volkswagen has a huge placement outside of the North American market where Ford struggles with that. So I think there's a lot of overlap, a lot of synergies there that could happen between the two, right? Ford's expertise in the truck market, Volkswagen could use to build on their pickups and SUVs and off-season offerings. And hey, Ford could have access to some great small car platforms to build some fantastic SUV crossovers. Because really, I mean, there's not a ton of small car things happening.
They're not going to build any cars regardless, right? Because I mean, how many does Volkswagen even have? They've got the Jetta, the Golf, the GTI, and what else? Is the Passat even around?
No, that's dead. Yeah, but I think where like really comes to fruition is Volkswagen has a lot of premium brands that they can leverage. Lincoln's done. I mean, let's be real here. So, I mean, they've got the Navigator, and that's about it. Yeah. Honestly, and honestly, the Escalade has eaten that thing for lunch. So,
I think it's been a while since the Navigator's been like really refreshed.
Yeah. So, but I think that could be a good play put on each other, and that would make like a pretty gigantic auto group. I'm not sure that
regulators will probably be like no,
but I mean,
you never know.
There's kind of a necessity for both of them. They're both kind of looking at things in their markets like this is getting kind of dire.
And Volkswagen has been, they've been very vocal about the fact that if things do not change, they're not going to exist the way you see them now.
Yep.
It just goes without saying, Yeah. So it's unfortunate to hear that from Volkswagen, who's been a storied automaker since a time we're not going to talk about. And, I mean, all the past is in the past, right?
Yeah. But hey, I would not mind like a MQB-based Mustang. That would be pretty sweet. Hey, you got the Mustang Mach-E, so I can't tell you. I'm just kidding.
Cut that out.
Kidding.
Explorer-based Atlas.
Hey, there we go. Yeah. No, there's some room there.
Ranger Amarok mashup.
There's some room there. Yeah. I'm telling you.
I don't know. We can see something.
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's not a bad merger. Again, regulators would probably say no. Regulators are probably going to say no.
But who knows in this world?
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. But we grease enough palms, right? But anyways,
exactly. Where'd you go?
Yeah. Kill your DIY policies. But anyways, so the one that I've suggested is definitely going to get quashed because mine involves a Chinese company.
Oh boy!
So I think the American manufacturer that needs the most help is unequivocally Stellantis.
Oh, absolutely.
They do not know what they're doing. They have ruined Jeep by overpricing everything.
For sure.
They have gutted Chrysler to the fact that Chrysler only has Pacifica now.
Yeah.
Literally nothing. They've gutted Dodge to where Dodge has nothing now. They've just done this new Charger, which has really kind of been very mildly, seen on the market now. As, and they're going to say, oh, we're also going to do it with a gas with a internal combustion motor, and we're also going to do it as an EV. Which
they have no idea.
Really, they have no idea what they're doing. So there is a Chinese company that has been making products that put Teslas to shame and do it for far less for years now. But we obviously can't get it in the United States because, there have been tariffs on Chinese EVs or Chinese cars, I think in general, for 100%. So I mean, they're never going to sell. Right. The Chinese company would have to make it, for literally half price of what an American car is, and then sell it, on stateside for that much more, which is just not going to happen, right? And so I'm talking about BYD. Two of their best cars are the Seal and the Sea Lion, which is basically a Tesla Model 3 and a Tesla Model Y, except better. And without the weird quirkiness of the Tesla, it's more of a typical car. And on top of it, these cars actually come standard with LiDAR.
Oh, wow.
Which is one of the missing pieces that Tesla seems to say they really don't need for the autonomous driving. So I think BYD is going to be one step closer to actually solving autonomous driving. So what BYD can do for Stellantis is just invigorate that company with some really interesting new product. They obviously know what they're doing from an EV standpoint. So for the EVs that Stellantis actually wants to make, the Wagoneer EV that they've got coming up, they can make that a little bit better. They can make the Charger EV better. The Airflow, I think they got canceled from Chrysler. If we don't kill Chrysler altogether, we can shift that over to Dodge or somewhere else and then make that, as another EV as well. And then they're also making this compelling product, which Stellantis just seems to not know how to do right now. They just seem so confused with what to do in the marketplace that they would probably be able to help them reinvent the Wagoneer and the Grand Wagoneer into something that actually makes sense for Jeep. Yeah. Drive the price down, make it look better, and just keep it as a more compelling product, right? That just sits on top of the Grand Wagon or the Grand Cherokee. There's just a lot of synergy, I think, there. But given they're a Chinese company, U.S. regulators will probably never approve it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, I do think Stellantis' biggest issue is they have too many brands with too little income. Yeah. So BYD is such a successful company in China; they could certainly influence them in a positive way there.
Oh, bigly, totally could do it.
Bigly, yeah, absolutely, without a doubt. Just gotta get past those tariffs.
Yeah, the tariffs. Well, see, this would allow them to, I think, get around the tariffs if they become an American company and start manufacturing the Seal and the Sea Lion in Stellantis factories that have been shuttered, making other products. Right, they could retool those, start making those stateside. And guess what? No tariffs.
It'll be interesting workaround there.
Yeah.
Let's see what they get onto that.
But yeah,
awesome.
Probably not going to happen, but it would be kind of interesting to see if it actually did.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'd be curious to see what you guys could come up with actually in the comments.
Yeah, we've there's a lot of other ones out there that make a little bit of sense, and so we'd really be interested to know what you guys think.
Yeah, let us know in the comments, and we appreciate you watching.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on The Driver's Line.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe to make sure you don't miss a thing.